How did the Mongols go from being a small tribe of nomadic horse riders to ruling over the largest contiguous land empire in history? Well, partly due to their impressive military tactics. Their skilled use of psychological warfare and terror tactics made them nearly unstoppable in battle. But equally important was the introduction of accounting rules, which may sound contradicting considering that the Mongols were known for burning, looting, and pillaging their way across Asia and Eastern Europe. However, there's more to this story than meets the eye. Welcome to my channel! Today, we will be looking at the surprising ways accounting rules helped the Mongols build their massive empire, and why it still matters today. To understand how accounting rules helped the Mongols rise to prominence, we need to first take a step back and look at what the world was like during the 12th and 13th centuries. The world was largely divided between two spheres, each dominated by a single superpower. The Western sphere was ruled by the Christian Kingdom of Europe, while the Eastern sphere was dominated by the Muslim Caliphate of Baghdad. But despite these dominant powers, neither the Christian nor the Muslim world was particularly peaceful. Both were fragmented into numerous competing states, and local lords often waged war to expand their territory or protect their interests. In this chaotic environment, the Mongols flourished. Originating in the mountains of Mongolia, the Mongols were a small tribe of nomadic horse riders who lived a semi-mystical lifestyle. They believed in shamanism, a belief system which asserts that the world is full of spirits and that shamans or spiritual leaders could interact with them. Shamans would go into a trance-like state and supposedly channel the spirits in order to gain knowledge or power. The Mongols also followed a code of laws called the Yasa, which laid out punishments for crimes such as theft, rape, and murder. And perhaps most importantly, the Mongols had a highly developed sense of loyalty and brotherhood. Genghis Khan, the founder of the Mongol Empire, famously declared, "All Mongols are brothers." This sense of unity was crucial in enabling the Mongols to unite the disparate tribes of the Mongolian steppe into a single, cohesive whole. Under Genghis' leadership, the Mongols went from being a minor tribe into a major power in Asia. He achieved this partly by implementing some basic accounting rules. Most importantly, he established the practice of double-entry bookkeeping. Double-entry bookkeeping is an accounting method in which every transaction is recorded twice. Once as a debit and once as a credit. For example, if someone buys something, the transaction would be recorded as a debit on their account and a credit on the seller's account. This method allows for checks and balances so that errors can be easily identified and corrected. Before Genghis implemented double-entry bookkeeping, record-keeping was rudimentary at best. Most transactions were simply memorized or passed down through word of mouth. This led to confusion, double counting, and outright fraud. But once the Mongols adopted the practice, it quickly became apparent that this new method was superior to what they were previously using. It allowed for better record keeping and made it much easier to track assets, liabilities, and income. In fact, many historians credit the Mongols with inventing the practice of bookkeeping altogether. While this claim is disputed, there is no doubt that the Mongols helped to popularize and refine the practice throughout their empire. Genghis also implemented accounting rules to help manage his vast herds of animals. As a nomadic tribe, the Mongols relied heavily on their herds of sheep, goats, horses, and camels for food and transportation. But managing such large herds was difficult and required careful record-keeping. Each animal had to be accounted for, and their offspring needed to be tracked carefully to avoid losing track of the herd. Genghis introduced accounting rules to ensure that all animals were properly accounted for and that any births or deaths were recorded immediately. This helped to prevent losses and ensured that the herds remained healthy and productive. Additionally, the Mongols used accounting rules to manage their finances. As they expanded their empire, the Mongols collected taxes from the people they conquered. But collecting taxes was not easy. There were always people who tried to cheat or evade taxes. So Genghis implemented accounting rules to ensure that everyone paid their fair share. These rules helped to generate revenue for the empire and ensure that the government had the resources it needed to function. But perhaps the most important accounting rule that Genghis implemented was the rule of law. The Mongols were known for their brutality and ruthlessness, but they also had a strong sense of justice and fairness. Genghis believed that everyone should be equal under the law and that no one should be above it. This included members of his own family. Once Genghis' brother Belgadi stole a horse from a subject, Genghis took the horse back from Belgadi and gave it back to its owner. When asked why he did this, Genghis replied, "The ruler of men must not be above the law." This commitment to justice and fairness made the Mongols more effective rulers and helped to maintain stability and order throughout their empire. In addition to introducing accounting rules, Genghis Khan also employed several military tactics that helped him defeat his enemies and expand his empire. One of his most famous tactics was the use of psychological warfare. The Mongols were known for their brutality and willingness to use fear and intimidation to achieve their goals. Before attacking a city, they would often send a letter or message to the defenders giving them an ultimatum. The terms of the ultimatum would usually involve the city as surrender without resistance, or else the Mongols would lay siege to the city. If the city refused to surrender, the Mongols would attack, and they would not show mercy. They would slaughter anyone who resisted, and they would burn, loot, and pillage the city. This use of psychological warfare was extremely effective. It forced many cities to surrender without a fight, which saved the Mongols time and resources. It also spread fear and terror throughout the Mongols' enemies, which made them less likely to resist Mongol rule. Another tactic that Genghis employed was the use of feigned retreats. This involved making a strategic withdrawal from battle in order to lure the enemy into a trap. The Mongols would pretend to be defeated and fleeing from battle, which would cause their enemies to pursue them. Once the enemy was close enough, the Mongols would turn around and attack them, catching them off guard. This tactic was particularly effective against cavalry-based armies, such as those of the Chinese and Persians. The Mongols would simply ride in circles around the enemy, slowly wearing them down until they were exhausted. At this point, the Mongols would break ranks and attack, slaughtering the enemy. A third military tactic that the Mongols employed was the use of scorched earth. As the Mongols expanded their empire, they often encountered resistance from local populations. When the Mongols were unable to subdue a population through military force, they would often resort to scorched earth tactics. This involved burning crops, killing livestock, and destroying villages and cities. This tactic was particularly effective against agrarian societies, since it destroyed the means of food production. It also caused widespread famine and disease, which weakened the enemy and made them more susceptible to Mongol rule. Overall, the Mongols were a highly skilled and adaptable fighting force. They were also innovative in their use of military tactics, which helped them defeat their enemies and expand their empire. However, it was also their ability to introduce accounting rules and institutions that enabled them to unite the disparate tribes of the Mongolian steppe into a single, cohesive whole. Without these accounting rules, it is unlikely that the Mongols would have been able to become the dominant power in Asia. So how does the story of the Mongols relate to us today? Well, in a globalized world where businesses and individuals interact across borders, it is more important than ever to have a solid understanding of accounting rules and practices. In fact, a survey conducted by the Association of Chartered Certified Accountants found that 76% of business leaders believe that a lack of accounting skills is holding their organization back. This is because accounting is more than just a means of tracking financial transactions. It is a way of organizing and managing information that can be used to make better decisions. By understanding accounting rules and practices, businesses can make more informed decisions about pricing, production, and marketing. They can also track their financial performance over time and identify areas where they can improve. In today's fast-paced and ever-changing business environment, it is essential to stay up to date with the latest accounting rules and regulations. One way to do this is by earning a professional accounting designation such as a certified public accountant or a chartered accountant. These designations demonstrate a high level of competence and professionalism, which can lead to better job opportunities and higher salaries. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe for more content. Have a great day and see you in the next video.